I'm going to use is the Sound Blast 16, and just a quick tour. It's just what I picked up out of one of the boxes. It's not in the best of shape, but it'll do the job. It'll work, hopefully. But this is the proprietary slot I was telling you about on this particular card. This is an IDE ATA PATA type slot. And basically what this is basically you had a CD-ROM drive that came bundled as part of the Sound Blaster 16 upgrade multimedia pack, and you basically then had a CD-ROM drive which you have somewhere, and you get a sound card similar to this, and you're able to then basically connect with a parallel cable. So this is a Centronics 80 pin, but same idea. So basically you plug that fella in there and do that fella into the back of the CD-ROM that came with it. And lo and behold, for machines like what we just saw there, they wouldn't run the the CD-ROM drive natively, or maybe they had two hard drives if you're really rich, so it would allow you to do that. So this is just a standard 16-bit sound card from Creative Labs. There's nothing particularly fancy about this, but this is a sound card that's in the machine, so it will be the sound card that we will be installing in a later video. So this is the CD-ROM drive. I chose to be the victim to go into this AST computer. As you can see, it's a Gold Star, which are now LG, and this machine seems to be the right sort of colour. And it's 16 speeds, so it'll be pretty nippy. So what we want to do is have a look at the back, and as you can see, I've set the bias jumper. I've set the jumper here to slave. The three options: there's cable select, which I never use because it's a waste of time. There's then slave, and then there's master. Generally, I pick the slave on the CD-ROM drive and the master on the hard drive. So we've done that already on the hard drive, obviously. So what we've got to do next is install this CD-ROM drive. So we're just going to basically sit it on top of the machine and, boot into DOS, install the CD-ROM driver, and see if it runs. So I'll just install this. I'll put the driver on off camera, but we'll do a boot. We'll see if it boots up. So fingers crossed this all goes. Just to show you here in the front of the machine while it's booting up, we have the modes, as I said. Fast, medium and slow. So basically if you change in the bias to medium, it'll go to the medium light. If you change to slow, it'll go to the slow light. So handy little thing to have in the front of it. But you've got all that, and you got the giant reset button, which as a kid we had great fun pressing on each other as we were trying to play different games. So that was always entertaining. And when we go next, whack, hit the reset button. Hey, it's like pulling the power out of a Commodore 64, so yeah, it was always entertaining. Okay, so as you can see, we have the hard drive and CD-ROM drive connected up physically. So one way you can test to see if it's working, drive opens up. So that's one way to find out if the optical drive is configured correctly insofar as it's not like backwards or there's a problem with master slave. If there's a problem with master slave, a lot of times the drive won't actually eject, it'll just sit there like a great big sponge and do nothing. So we're currently letting it boot up here in the background, and we'll see if it lets us see that optical drive. And okay, so as you can see, it detects it correctly. It's seen it as a Gold Star CRD 8160B, and their firmware version 1.08, and it is also seeing that the MSCDX driver is installed there as well. So yeah, it's detected it, it's running with it. So all we've got to do now is see if it can be seen in Windows. So let's give that a go. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to set up a network drive in Windows for Workgroups 3.11. So once you're in File Manager, this little button here, click on this. So this is the option to locate a new external network hard drive, and it's taking its time. You make sure you're in the same workgroup. So whatever your workgroup set up as, generally workgroup is the most common workgroup. I still have my workgroup here, set up as workgroup. But if yours is set up as something else, make sure it's set up as that. Next thing to do is type in, basically my one's called this, so basically I'm typing in the / myBookWord / download, and then I press OK. It'll then go and basically find that. With a bit of luck, it has. Then I'm going to type in the password, and that's basically it. Now I have access to my network hard drive. How about that? Welcome to the modern age. You can also see there's a D drive on here. That's our CD-ROM drive, which has been detected in this machine. So we're cooking on gas now. So okay, let's have a look at the Windows setup. So in Windows setup, there's the Windows setup logo here. Just double click on that. Once you're in there, you can go ahead and you can change the display, the keyboard, the mouse, the network, and so on and so forth. So when you start the machine originally, when you're basically, you know, setting up the OS, I'll show you that in one moment, you can choose which display to go for. Now this is basically an unlisted driver, so we're basically going down to the bottom here. We're clicking on other requires disk from OEM. So once you click on that, didn't work. Once you click on that, it'll then ask you for that floppy disk. We've done that. We've actually told it where that file was. It basically detected this particular video card here. When I say detected, it was basically what we're telling it to detect. We also went down and we chose the Microsoft or IBM PS2. It's a PS2 mouse, as you might remember. We've got a PS2 mouse port at the back of its machine. So it's a standard PS2 mouse. It's, you know, nothing fancy. And this basically means that we have a mouse driver in Windows, which is ideal, because it means we haven't got a mouse driver in DOS where we don't really need it. If we do need a mouse driver in DOS, we can, you know, load it in DOS if we need to, for like point and click games or whatever the hell. So that's all done there. Okay, just press cancel. But let's say you do all that, okay, and you make a mistake and something goes wrong. The machine decides to go, oh no, I didn't like that video card. Well, let me show you what you do there. Okay, so let's say, for example, the video card driver was the wrong one you installed, you made a mistake, and you want to basically fix your problem. Well, this is also what you'll see when you're originally installing the Windows for Workgroups from the floppy disk. So basically make sure you navigate to the C:\Windows directory and type in the word setup and press enter. Okay, and in here then you can basically choose what you want to do. This is one thing I love about this computer, is it actually is listed as a selection. And I always remember it being listed as a selection, and I remember setting my AST Premium 386 16 megahertz to this selection, and it basically said, nah, I don't like that machine, not running that, no way, not running that. So I was like, okay, we'll go back and we will basically use it as the AST Premium nothing. No, we went and picked MS-DOS system. So this machine actually is the AST Premium 386 25. I'm not too sure what sort of a difference it will make, but I like the fact that it's there. Look at this MS-DOS session with advanced power management, APM. Very fancy. What else is in there? These are pretty machines that people have. Look. Anyway, we've got that one, so we can leave it as that. So basically, you've got it in here. You didn't know what graphics card you picked, but you need to, you know, navigate in the CD-ROM drive, or, you know, to make things easier for yourself. So what do? Well, basically discount the graphics card driver that you just installed, and just basically install VGA and press enter. What will happen now is it'll go and install the standard VGA driver. So it's a bit like safe mode. You can then go back into Windows and then choose another one using the method we showed you in the last little clip, which is using Windows setup. Or you can do it in here. If you're sure what the disk is, again, you can go into VGA. You can get down to the very, very bottom. Other requires disk provided with the manufacturer, and the same thing, it'll prompt you along, and you can go ahead and use the floppy disk to install the graphics card. But we've already chosen the right one. So let's say again, when you're booting up the machine originally and using your Windows for Workgroups setup disks, make sure again in here you can go ahead, you can choose one of the Genius serial mice if you like to, or we have a PS2 mouse port, so we've it set up as a PS2 mouse port. Okay, so we're back in Windows here. So we want to set up, hold on a second, this is giving me a bit of jip. Okay, so an error record loading drive A. I think I know what that is. That's because our system name is a bit different. You know, there's a few problems. Anyway, so when you're setting up the computer, you're given an option to name the computer. If you forget what the name of the computer is, you probably can't see it because it's slightly off screen. That's actually off the edge of the monitor there, not necessarily my fingers there, you see. So it has their AST 386, that's what we call it. Write that name down. And then ASTC, so I've basically named the hard drive ASTC. So what I did there was to do that, was you can see this little hand underneath it. I clicked on the hand here. That basically lets me choose what I want to call it. I can change it to C if I like, okay? So what this means is we can set it to full, which is a good idea. So full, leave the password blank. At this stage it's not going to matter. So share name ASTC, path to C:\\, comment AST386 and press OK. Okay? And reshare at startup. What that means is that if we have a more modern machine like Windows 2000, even Windows 10 should basically be able to do it, you'll be able to access this hard drive from the other computer. So you'll be able to access, say, and transfer over the information. So I was actually copying stuff over, like Duke and DOS Bench, and it was taking me basically about 4 weeks to do it. So I went inside and I basically transferred over from using the Windows 2000 machine, and it ran a little bit faster. Still took a bit of time to do it, but a bit more comfortable being inside, clicking a few different bits and sending them over to this computer. So I could be up the other end of I could be basically 150 meters away from this PC and uploading information to it whilst having a cup of coffee and watching television, rather than sitting down here and freezing my keyboard off. So no, it just made more sense. It was a bit quicker, made things a little bit easier. You might see there's a directory called S3. That's the directory that contains the video card driver. So when we got to choose the floppy disk or location, I basically directed to C:\S3 and install the video card driver directly off the hard drive, because it's too big to fit on floppy disk. So that's why I was saying that originally what I do with these machines is I set up a network card. CD-ROM drive is something separate, because a lot of the games wouldn't necessarily be on CD-ROM drive. They can run off the hard drive. So I basically make sure it's set up that I can run off the network. I can download the information off my network and run programs, directly from the network, or preferably transfer them to the machine. So network in here, right? So in Windows Network Setup, I'll show you what I did here. I had the floppy disk in my hand, and I installed TCP/IP for Windows for Workgroups. And this thing blows up now. We'll see it. Okay, so you don't need, actually that doesn't need to be there at all, that one. You don't need NetWi and you don't need IPX/SPX. All you actually need is a Microsoft TCP/IP to run on modern networks. If you're trying to run the likes of Duke Nukem 3D on a network, you are going to need the IPX/SPX protocol, unless somebody has a patch for it that's changed that I don't know about. But I remember having to use this IPX/SPX transport so people could actually play Duke Nukem over the LAN. So you'll need it for that, but otherwise, if you're just doing file transfers, the TCP/IP will be adequate enough. And also, it's best to not have half of these if you don't need them. I don't know whether we can I remove that? Or should we have to remove it? Yes. Oh, it lets me. And I'll remove that too. Okay, so that's all we have is that installed now. So we'll do that and see what happens. It shouldn't make any difference. It might actually solve our problem with our network hard drive. You never know. We can try it. But yeah, let's stop the video there. I'm just going to do a restart, and we'll see if it made any difference. So we're back in a minute. Okay, so we're back into Windows. So we'll now go ahead and we will see if that worked. So what we have installed now is TCP/IP, and everything else is disabled. So we see if that network is, it's still giving the same error. But we'll see if it still connects back to it, actually, because at the end of the day, that's what's important, isn't it? So let's have a look. Okay, so same thing again. So okay to that. We put the password in. What was it again? Jam sandwich? Yeah, we still got it. So yeah, all you need is TCP/IP enabled. You don't need anything else enabled. I remember it being recommended to me that that's really all you should have installed. You really don't need anything else. So yeah, just put that on its own. You should be okay. You should be golden. But yeah, okay. So that's basically all we're going to show you in this video. So I'd like you to join me the next time, and we'll see if we can get the sound card sorted out. See if we can get a bit of sound going here in glorious Windows 3.11. But as always, I'd like to say thanks a million for watching. I really do appreciate you watching these videos. I do them for myself to remember how to do this stuff. So there's obviously going to be mistakes here and there. Where possible, I'll try and solve the mistakes. Or if you've any questions, of course, ask them down below. And please like and subscribe. And I'll see you again the next time. Bye bye.